champion discs, and I also play for Born to Be Fly. And I've been playing disc golf for about 11 years now. And something I've been really working on and trying to master, and it's a daily, maybe yearly thing, is putting. It's probably the hardest thing that I've ever tried to work on. Driving and upshots have always come a little bit easier than putting for me. I'll teach you guys the different styles of putting. There's two different kinds of putting. There's a push putt and there's a spin putt. There's also variations like we call the spush putt, which is a variation between the two, which is what a lot of us do on closer putts. But what I'll show you guys are the different grips I like to do. For a push putt, I have my hand fanned out, and it's very important to have this finger not curled in, the front finger here. You don't want it curled down like a drive or an upshot. You want it bent like this to where the bottom of the putter is fitting on your crease, or have your finger out on the bottom edge like Paul Macbeth does. He'll put it down there, or you can even put it all the way on the edge if that feels most comfortable, whichever is best for you guys. But the difference between push putt and spin putt for me is when I aim, I'm aiming 12 o'clock on a push putt. So dead center of my putter is what I'm using to aim at the basket. And I'm also coming down with a straight arm and coming up at the basket and pushing it off the back of your hand here. That's why it's called a push putt. And I do them on closer putts. It was my original putt, what I used to always do. So I keep my arm locked as straight as I possibly can. And it floats kind of like a rainbow, but it hits the chains, it'll stay in, it's a lot easier. But you'll see me drop straight down, and I always try to keep the nose up no matter what I'm doing, and I want you guys to all work on that. Instead of bringing it down like this, because what that'll do is create a nose down putt, which we don't want to putt nose down, because unless you're throwing it over a bush or something, you want to release it slightly nose up. It'll help the putt fly farther easier. So here's a push putt. I'm going to aim dead center here. I'm going to come straight back and straight forward off the pole. And see how that one comes up and floats? It's more of a floaty putt. It's what a lot of top pros use on closer putts. Oops, that one I missed. There we go. Here's another push putt. You can see it doesn't spin as much either. So you can be a little bit off. You don't have to hit dead center to have it stay in. But if you're doing that putt when it's windy or from farther out distances, it's hard. It gets harder. So it's a good putt to do up close, and if it's not windy. A putt that I've been working on for about a year is the spin putt, and that one's easier to do from longer distances. There's not as much variances in the movements, in my opinion. But what I'm going to do is, instead of aiming here on dead center, I'm going to actually curl my wrist and use the back of my hand as an aiming target now for spin putting. And instead of lining up straight or straddle, like I do for the push putt, I'm actually going to turn my body as well and point my shoulder at the target instead. Because if you're opening up and you're doing spin putts, it's easy to go here or here. See what I'm saying? With the push putt, it's easier to just aim wherever you're going through. But when you're spinning it, you're gonna open up too far here or not enough there. So it's really good to just point your shoulder at it. So when you come at a spin putt, you just follow straight through at it, the way your arm, naturally extends out. This putt is better for longer distances, better in the wind, and you don't have to rainbow it as much and putt it as soft. So you're going to make a lot more putts, but you're going to have a lot more bigger comebacks. So there's a little bit, there's some pros to cons of both, and you got to hit more dead center when you're putting more velocity and more spin on it. Let's see if I can demonstrate a couple spin putts for you here. Oop, that one was good. And see how I'm following through right at it with my shoulder? There we go. See how you can hear it, how it has a lot more spin, or a lot more pop, as I would say, than a push putt. So that's why you have to stay direct. But I'm tired of missing putts low and high, so I'm really working on that spin putt. And you're starting able to make more putts from farther distances.
What's your grip like again on that spin?
Oh, the spin putt, I grip everything the same. Oh. Just I go from a drive, it's more stiff, and then mid-range, it's a little softer, and then when I get up to a putt, I take my finger and I wrap it up to there. And I do everything the same, even when I'm spin putting. I don't recommend it. Some people recommend, you know, putting your finger on the end, or actually fanning your fingers out, or not as much. I just don't like messing with a lot of grip. I try to keep everything as simple as possible. I think that's the name of this game, to at least lower your guys' score, is to stop complicating things and always take the easiest shot. Someone was asking me, I believe it was you earlier, about the hyzer angle and stuff. He was asking about what angle I release the putter on, and I like to release the putter, if this is flat, on a slight hyzer, and then stand it up to flat. When it's just easier for me to snap it that way. I do know some putters that are really good that release it on an ante line. I don't like that. It just doesn't work good for me, but if it works for you and you're not missing putts, then don't change it. A lot of people say releasing flat is the way to release it because it's the easiest angle. Also, he was asking when I'm up close, I'm going to eliminate my footwork and still putt as hard as I normally do from like a 30-footer. So you guys will see, watch, I won't do any footwork here. And I just do a normal push putt. It's because it's a tap-in. And what I think is if you keep the same tempo going, the farther back you step and just add a little bit more footwork, it'll make things a lot easier for you guys. So when I'm about 15, 20 feet, I don't even move my feet. I just move my upper body. But now that I'm a little bit farther out, you guys will see I'll start doing a little kick to give myself more power. See that? So that'll give me more power to putt. But I'm still doing the same motion I am with my arm. I'm not speeding up my arm tempo at all. It's the same kind of putt all the way through. So now that I'm a little bit farther out here, you guys are going to see how much more I'm going to kick and get more of my legs involved with this. There you go. Oop, missed it. But you see how much easier it is the farther out you get? Instead of coming up here and doing this kind of putt, that's going to be your max distance. You're only going to be putting for 20, 30 feet with that power without being able to jump. And that's why a lot of us do end up jump putting. Which I think jump putting is it's a great tool for putting. There's a lot of great putters that jump putt. It's really hard to do a legal putt. You got to make sure you release the putter before you step or before you hit anything in front of you when you're outside 33 feet, and then you also have to not jump in the air when you release the putt. So you have to be careful with making sure you're doing a legal jump putt. King Climo, he does a little straddle jump putt like this. He makes them though. He's really good at it, and I would really recommend looking at some of his videos. And he keeps it really simple. He's just taking a step forward and jumping. And I think less movement creates more accuracy. That's why I'm trying not to jump putt as much. But this is my variation of a jump putt that I would recommend if you guys wanted to learn, maybe give it a try. I come to flat foot here, and you'll see I bring my left foot through. And it really helps me generate power the farther out I get. If I can make one for you guys. There you go. And you can see I slightly released it on a hyzer angle. That's my variation of the jump putt. But like I said, you could straddle jump. You could just do a falling putt instead of having to jump. Or you could learn to stand still and spin putt, which is turning sideways. I'd just like to show you guys the variation of practically what every great putter putts like this. They putt in between the two right now. Ricky Wysocki, Will Shoestrick is doing a slow version of the spush, is what I call it. But instead of doing a full push like that, where you're putting varying spin, and instead of spin putting it really hard like that one, they're just going right in between. Not all the way like this, not all the way here. And they're just being nice and slow and methodical. And like that. And Nate Sexton's doing the same putt. And he played really good USDGC. There's a lot of players doing that putt. So I would highly recommend. The farther out you get, you might want to get more of a spin putt going, or for win. But I recommend learning in between the two, to where you're not putting no spin on the putt, and you're not putting too much spin on the putt. It's very touchy, but I see all the best players are doing it, especially Paul Macbeth. You know, he's doing off his finger here, which is different than what I'm doing. And his release is probably one of the best releases in the game right now for putting. And clearly he's showing it by how well he's playing. So I'd recommend giving that grip a try as well. The only reason is because when you do this grip, it's easy to catch on the finger and get a wobble putt. So I would recommend, you guys have any questions about what I'm talking about first before I go?
Being pretty clear.
Go crazy. So anybody want to grab putts and have any questions about issues with what they're doing? It's good to do it in front of the group. I know it's scary, but
I'm down.
Anybody, you got some issue?
Yeah, my biggest issue right now is my release. I am always left or always right. I'm plenty high, but I just can't get the right kind of snap, and I've kind of adjusted, and I know where my release is, but how can I get more consistent with my release?
Do you putt every day?
I have a skill shot basket.
Skill shot, about 15 minutes a day maybe?
At least.
You know what I would do is try to make let's see your putt first.
Okay.
Yeah, see how he's spinning it, you guys? You guys see that? How he comes and breaks his elbow and throws the back of the hand at it? And that's why it's really hard when you line up like this to spin accurately. That's why it's good to turn sideways, so he can be aggressive and spin right at it and always follow through. If you fully extend, you're going to follow through right at the basket.
Okay,
so what I would do is, turn your shoulder more and bring it straight back nice and slow. And see, so he's starting with the push putt motion and then bending his elbow and then spinning it straight through. If you want to spin putt, just go bring it straight back, straight through. That's what I mean about simplifying things. Okay. Instead of having him drop it down here, bend his elbow and then throw through, just bring him straight back, straight through at it. Oh yeah, it's still hard. You have a hard time generating power?
Sometimes and no. I can generate plenty of power. It's just my release can be so flimsy sometimes.
So when I honestly, this sideways putt here, whenever I come at it sideways, that's the only putt I like to release Annie, and it's because the only way I can release it. I don't recommend this spin putt. I think it has the most variables and takes the most practice. That's why I think the straight back and straight forward theory of the spush, that's why all the best players are putting like that. It's really easy to bring your arm straight back like this. It's really hard to consistently go like this and throw a disc.
Right.
Maybe for an up shot, but not for putting. A lot of variables. So try the straight arm all the way through. And you're pretty far back, too. Yeah. This is a good little putt. Yeah, and see how he's releasing nose down? You guys see that? So what you need to do, it's called a there you go. Shovel it. Take your wrist and point the nose up. It'll help the putter float a lot easier. Putt it hard too. There you go. Try this one. Let me see. You're good. Good. Yeah. See, there you go. Nice. See how you're pointing your nose down though when you brought it back? You still gotta get that.
It's such a habit.
And honestly, you guys, when I learned to putt nose up, that really changed my whole outlook on putting. I actually used to do exactly what he's doing right now. And he's putting nose down. And let's say if there's a bush in front of me, this is the only time I'm ever going to putt like this. Look at drop. See that? It's really good for a bush, but to get it consistently to fly, it's really difficult. So see how simple? I just take my nose up, straight back, nose up, release it, nose up. See that? And now it's floating. Really effortless. So give that a try. Get that nose up more. And hey, take that hand and turn it slightly. There you go. There you go. So if you're having a hard time generating power, your wrist is open too much. Your push putt too much. You got to take the wrist and turn it back. He opened it up a little too much there. Yeah. So that's why it's good to slightly have it bent so you can get the spin on it and get it to fly. That was offline, but that's the kind of power I want from this distance. Another one. Anybody else want to putt? You got something to work on, John? Yeah. You want to show some putting? Show him the turbo. Yeah, show him your turbo. I always tell him not to turbo putt, but watch this, guys. He's pretty